Having run this podcast for almost 4 years now, I can tell you it takes a lot of time and money. So I want to take a moment to say a very warm, heartfelt thank you to the following homies who have donated to help keep this show free to air for everyone to enjoy. So a warm thank you to Leah Bug, Jassim, Jill Gisinger, Jenny Griffiths, Anna Morningstar, Tess Metcalf, Danielle Tomzak, Ambika Waters, Alan Steele, Alan Amarina, and Melissa Holloway. Thank you so much, homies, for actually taking the time to donate to the podcast. It really means so much to me, and it just lights a fire in my belly and not only helps me to pay the bills of running the podcast, but also shows me that you really care. If anyone else would like to donate to the podcast, visit eugeniekruger.com. And at the top, you'll see the donate button. Every donation of $10 and over will get a shout out on a future episode. Thank you so much again. And thank you for listening to the podcast and sharing it with your family and friends. If you have a moment, please also consider giving this podcast a 5-star review on whichever podcasting platform you listen to. It really does make a huge difference. Thank you so much. Today, we are so lucky to speak with 2-time return guest, the lovely Ruth Hull, who is one of my beautiful colleagues and friends here in Perth. Ruth is such a wealth of knowledge, and I wanted to get her on the podcast today to specifically speak with us about menopause and perimenopause, because this is something that a lot of women are suffering with in silence, and this definitely should not be that way. It should be a beautiful time of transformation. And so if there's anything that we can do naturally to help ourselves during this transition, then of course we are going to share that with you on the podcast. So if you want to know some more information about Ruth or get some of her free downloadable guides or join one of her group counseling sessions, then visit ruthhull.com. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies. We are joined here today with my lovely friend, Ruth Hull in Perth. Welcome back to the podcast, Ruth.
Thank you. Hello. Thanks.
Hello. It's so great to have an excuse to catch up, because even though we're in the same city, we haven't been able to see each other in ages because we've both been so busy. But Ruth has actually been on the podcast twice now. It's been twice.
Twice, yes.
Yes, and you've shared your story of how you found homeopathy.
Yeah.
So people will have to go listen back on those episodes to get your origin story.
Yes.
But today I'm really excited because we're going to be delving into menopause, which I was mentioning to you recently. Just going through the statistics of the podcast, one of the podcasts that we had the most downloads on was one on menopause. And it made me realize there's all these women out there with all these things happening to their bodies. And I'm 46 now, so I'm having some weird and freaky stuff happening. And I'm like, what's going on? And a lot of my friends are going through this. And it's funny because my son's 13 and I keep joking with him saying, Mummy's going through adult puberty right now and you're going through your actual puberty. So it's all got these hormonal things going on. And I'm so excited to talk with you about that. But because there's lots to catch up on. So sorry, listeners, you're going to have to hang out here with us a little bit, because Ruth and I haven't had a chance to have a proper chat for a while. And I was chatting with Sharon the other day, and she was saying that you have been to the Solomon Islands. And we've had the lovely Jane Lindsay on the podcast to talk about Solomon Islands. So people have to listen back on that as well. I'm going to stay quiet in just a second, but I want you to just first tell me, how was the Solomon Islands?
Oh, wow. The trip was amazing. It was just one of those trips in a lifetime, especially for my soul as a homeopath, because I was with a group of other homeopaths. We stayed in a house together. We just talked homeopathy 24 hours a day, which you can't do at home. Like you drive your husband or your kids mad. So that was just so, so beautiful. We taught homeopathy for 2 weeks to 60 islanders. And I was there, I suddenly felt this huge responsibility, because the islanders who came, there is no sort of Western medicine. There's no hospitals on all the different islands. There's nearly 1,000 different islands in the Solomon Islands. And so the people we were teaching would go back and be the only form of medical care there, the only form of healthcare there. And we were teaching them from scratch. it was a huge responsibility, but they'd been using homeopathy for nearly 100 years as their first line medical care. Like, it's just mind-blowing how beautiful homeopathy works. I think we learned a lot from them. They taught us a lot. They put us to shame the way they just know their remedies so well.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, it was a great trip. It was just such a beautiful experience to see homeopathy just being used all the time.
What a privilege. And, they're pretty lucky to have had you there as well, because for our listeners who haven't listened back to Ruth's previous episodes, she actually literally writes textbooks on anatomy and physiology that is used in universities and schools all over the world. So, they're pretty lucky to have had you there as well, to be fair.
Yeah, it was actually, I used to teach anatomy and physiology, but it was actually quite difficult because it's one thing teaching it to people whose first language is English and who have, I only ever teach adults at colleges. So I've never taught absolute beginners. And a lot of them didn't actually speak English. We only noticed this once we started teaching. So we had to get someone to translate. It was quite an experience, but it was good. It was very good.
Amazing. And I remember when we had Jane on the podcast, she was talking about how they pretty much just give the remedies in water over there, right? Yeah, the water dosing.
Yeah, they call it water medicine.
Oh, I have to give a huge shout out to my husband, because somebody in my membership asked a question about water dosing this week. And last night he said to me, you should link that episode about that lady in the Solomon Islands and how they give the remedies there in the water. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good that he remembered that, because I didn't even think of that. So I linked the episode there. But it's amazing how that's the only way that they dose, right? It's like in water.
Yes, so people, they just bring a water bottle, and the dispenser will put the remedy into the bottle, and they take the bottle away, and they write on the bottle how often they need to take it. So simple. It's not expensive at all. It's just very, very clever. Very, very clever.
Doesn't it just feel in your heart like that is the way that medicine should be and healing should be? It shouldn't be complicated or expensive. It should be easy.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But one of the questions one of the dispensers asked us, so they're asking us about, sort of what remedies to use when, and one of the learners, the student said, what do we do for crocodile bites? What? So that's the kind of stuff that they're dealing with every day.
The reality of it all, hey?
Yeah,
I think that's, if you were to go to Africa or to India or anywhere like that, there's just we have first world problems, they've got real life problems.
Yes.
Oh.
In South Africa, I worked for a while. I volunteered in a clinic called Kula Clinic.
Oh, you were at Kula as well. I've had them on the podcast too.
Oh, that was just beautiful. And you just see such amazing changes so quickly as well. And you'd get there in the morning and there'd be 200-300 people just queuing out the door. Just this long, long queue of people coming for homeopathy.
That's
lovely.
Just unbelievable. And so lovely that there's actually people that want to learn homeopathy, whereas some of the other countries Australia, we're shunned and we're, told we're medicine doctors and everything else, whereas these other places are just, I can't imagine what that must feel like professionally to have 200 people queuing up, early in the morning, all the things they've had to go through to get there, to come and see you and to, experience your medicine. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But speaking of real world problems, you had a bit of an incident happen as well. Sharon was telling me. What happened to you?
So I came back from the Solomon Islands with dengue fever. I got dengue fever. I was on the airplane and I just felt frozen, absolutely frozen all the way back to Perth. And then my husband picked me up. We were meant to be, it was our local street Christmas party, and we were meant to be going to that. And I said, I've got a headache. I'm just going to go to sleep instead. And then I just had the most terrible fever. It's also called bone break fever because it feels like your bones are breaking. And I really saw how homeopathy works because I don't think I was quite in my right mind. So I was taking remedies like bryonia, which helped a little bit for a few days. And then I took Eupatorium perf because it felt like my bones were breaking. That's the only way to describe it. And it would help with the pain, but I was getting sicker and sicker. And after 3 days, I went to hospital And there's no medical treatment for dengue fever. All they can do is watch you and your platelets drop. So if your platelets keep dropping, you get to the stage where you actually start hemorrhaging from every orifice. Luckily, I didn't get there, but every day I would have my blood taken and my platelets were dropping. And then Dr. Neary, who actually came to the Solomons with us, she messaged me to see how I was doing. And I said, oh, I'm okay. And she said, no, let me take your case. So she took a full case. She gave me Staphysagria, which I would never have thought of, but it actually was because I was really angry about something. She gave me Staphysagria. So I had my blood test, my platelets were dropping. She gave me Staphysagria. The next day I had more blood taken and my platelets were going up. It was phenomenal. And that's when, the turning point was that Staphysagria, and I just started getting better after that. So it's just
Wow.
homeopathy. And it's more that not so much clinical homeopathy, but looking at the big picture.
But I guess part of that is clinical as well, in that you can use Staphysagria prophylactically against mosquito bites. So if you are going to, so I guess it makes sense as well. But yeah, you kind of forget. I wish I could find it. And this would be 10 years ago. I found an actual study somewhere where somebody had used Staphysagria prophylactically somewhere in Africa, and they had there was clinical significance in the fact that the people were getting less mosquito bites, and it's somehow and the idea was it somehow changed the blood chemistry or something, and then they weren't attracted, the mosquitoes weren't attracted to them. But Staphysagria does have that affinity for sure.
Yes,
Yeah, but then when you have the mental emotional component that matches, that is just magical.
yes,
Absolutely magical. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Did you use the nosode at all? I'm always intrigued.
I didn't. No.
Yeah.
I didn't have it with me. I didn't have it with me. I ordered it, but it took about a week to get here because I'm in Perth and I ordered it from Melbourne. So I didn't have it, and the Staphysagria just worked so beautifully.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Far out. And when we were having a chat, you were saying you had all sorts of other symptoms and things flare up for you as well. But I guess this kind of segues into the menopausal stuff, because we had a brief little chat yesterday, and that was really interesting. This kind of return of old symptoms type thing that you had happen. But maybe, let's tie that into where we're going next, which is menopause and perimenopause, and specifically the mental health challenges around that. Because I don't know if we're properly prepared for that side of things.
No.
I don't feel I was sent a memo about this, about the mental emotional stuff around perimenopause. So can you maybe give us a memo of the mental emotional side that's involved with perimenopause and menopause? And maybe just, can you clarify the two for us? Because perimenopause and menopause, the clinical kind of differences of it, and then we'll go into the mental emotional side of it.
Yes. Okay. Because I sort of always talk about menopause or the menopausal years, but actually I'm also referring to perimenopause. So menopause is actually only when you have had no period for 12 months. So it's that significant time when you've had no menstrual period for 12 months. But perimenopause is 6 to 8 to even 10 years before menopause. And that's actually the time when a woman's really, really can struggle. So if I say from about the age of 40 to 50, 55, those are the years that can be really, really difficult for a woman physically, emotionally, mentally. So I'm a counselor as well. And last year I just went to a mental health talk about menopause. And I've always worked with menopausal women because homeopathy works beautifully for things like hot flushes. I mean, there's nothing that works like homeopathy for hot flushes. So I've worked a lot with menopausal women, but I never actually knew sort of the mental, emotional impact of menopause. I never really understood it. Let's say I never really understood it. And in this talk on mental health, a woman mentioned that in 2023, just the statistics of women who die by suicide is highest in the age from 40, I think, I can't remember it exactly, it's my menopausal brain.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
You'll notice that a lot today.
Yeah.
But it is in the menopausal years. I think it's from 40 to 49. That's the highest rate of suicides in women in Australia. And more women than men are prescribed in Australia. These are Australian statistics. More women than men are prescribed antidepressants and sleeping tablets, and that increases significantly during the menopausal years. So there's all these statistics showing clearly that women are struggling with their mental health. But there's so many women who go to their doctor from the age of 40 and they're just prescribed antidepressants or sleeping tablets. They're not really asked about their periods or, perhaps their perimenopausal, what's going on with their hormones. At the same time, some women who are really, really struggling emotionally are just told, oh, it's just your hormones, don't worry. And then they're not getting the mental help that they need. So it's just this very gray area. And that's sort of why I really like to speak about mental health and menopause, because it's something we don't always speak about. We speak a lot about the symptoms. We speak a lot about hot flushes, but we don't really look at the weepiness that comes with it, the emotional, the mood swings. One moment you're laughing, the next you're screaming at your partner or your children. And I think if women can understand what's going on with their bodies, it'll really help them sort of understand why they're going through what they're going through.
And even just the age range of it, because a few years ago I read Lara Brydon's excellent book, Period Repair Manual, and then Hormone Repair Manual. So Hormone Repair Manual is more to do with perimenopause and menopause, which is where she actually, described the kind of like the difference. Like we all talk about menopause, but I was, very ignorant in that. I had no idea that this perimenopausal period can actually be 10 years. And so like stuff starts happening and you're like, what is going on with me? And we don't actually realize that this is, physically, you'll probably start speaking about that soon, but, the adrenal starting to take over the role of the ovaries. And that kind of takes like a little bit of a while of handing the production of the estrogen over to the adrenals. So kind of physiologically understanding what's happening in your body. And this doesn't just happen overnight. Your body needs like a little bit of time to hand that job over. And just even knowing that and making that more public, that this perimenopausal period can actually last around 10 years was like, oh, okay, maybe that's why I'm yelling at my husband and kids more than what I normally would. And actually just telling the family about that, like kind of making them aware of what's going on as well. Yeah, it's a big difference. Yeah. But it's scary about the statistics with the suicide. I mean, there's so many different reasons for that, but this is where just getting that information out there and women just knowing that they're not going crazy. This is actually physiological things happening with your body. Yeah. Anyway, maybe you can speak a little bit more about like what that can manifest as, or what that can look like for women. Is it just depression, or is it like what sort of other things can it look like?
So there's quite a few. I mean, I think every woman is different, but the most common, and they really are common, and I don't think I've met a woman yet who goes through that from the age of 40 to say 55 without experiencing something. A lot of women are quite ashamed of their mood swings and stuff, but they are really, really common. And I think if we can talk more about it, it'll help. So mood swings, just being moody, just getting irritable, angry. Some women get rage. They get really angry and they know that it's not them. They know it's like a little flick goes, a little, flick, little switch goes, and they scream at their kids, their family, their dog, whatever. And they know it's not them, but they can't stop. Tearfulness. I actually had a friend who kept saying to me, I'm just weepy all the time at the moment. And she's menopausal. And she said, I just keep crying. And I didn't really take note of it because I'm also menopausal at the moment. I get emotional. I watch something on TV. It makes me cry. It's like being pregnant. The same feeling. And then she said to me one day, she said, every morning I wake up and I cannot stop crying. And it's like this big, heavy, heavy cloud over me. And then I realized this is serious. This is really a bit more than it should be. So weepiness, all these sort of emotional ups and downs, but there's also a lot of cognitive changes that happen with menopause. And another sort of journal article I read was on ADHD in menopausal women. And women who have already got the diagnosis of ADHD find 61% of them find that their symptoms get worse with menopause. Like that's a high percentage. So those cognitive problems, like you can't focus or concentrate, memory problems. I think that's probably the most common. Can't even remember your name sometimes. Difficulty being motivated. A lot of women they just don't feel motivated. Difficulty keeping things organized. Some women are very, very organized. They pride themselves on being organized, and then suddenly menopause comes and they're just disorganized and they don't know what's happened to them. And many women actually have to leave their jobs during menopause because of these cognitive changes, which is horrible, and that has a huge impact on their self-esteem as well. So there's lots going on.
And do you reckon it has to be that way? Is this just one of those things that we have to resign ourselves to, and we're like, this is just the way it's going to be? Or what do you think?
I think we need to accept that we're changing and that we will have our ups and downs. It is just part of menopause. Our estrogen levels are declining. And so there will be all these sort of repercussions or these effects. But there is a lot we can do for ourselves, especially in terms of diet, to just make it easier, to balance the hormones quicker. So answer yes.
Yeah.
No.
Estrogen estrogen helps us be like caring and mothering and, all those sorts of things. And it's interesting with that declining of estrogen, and you saying that we kind of, women that are, they work, they feel less motivated and they don't care so much about, maybe being as tidy as normal. Part of that kind of makes me wonder as well about the mental emotional side of like kind of over caring and over mothering. And then with this drop in estrogen, we're just like, nah, we've just done everything for everyone. And maybe we should actually just quit our jobs and actually not have to think and not have to do so much, because we have been holding that space for the whole family so long.
Well, that's a joke. When you reach 40, Sharon actually said this to me when she turned 50, which made me laugh. When you reach 40, you learn the word, as a woman, you learn the word no. When you reach 50, it's like, beep.
Yeah,
no.
beep off. Yeah.
I don't want to swear. I don't want to swear on
yeah,
it's like, absolutely not. No, you suddenly get this strength. And so there is beauty in menopause. There is something really positive, and that's that a lot of women, they go through a difficult period and then they find themselves, and you're only like halfway through your life. You've still got a long time to go. And what is that quote? Maya Angelou said, if there were no change, there would be no butterflies.
Beautiful.
So menopause is just that period in your life when you're in your cocoon, and then you can shed it, let go of a lot that you've been through, that's hurt you, whatever, and just move forward. I'm saying it like it's easy. It's not. It's not easy, but it's possible.
I love that you keep it real, because it's so easy to get caught up in that, oh, it's beautiful, la, 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 la. But actually the reality of being in the thick of it is it can be very hard. And that's why I wanted to get you on the podcast too, because you've got such a huge variety of different skills, and you've just done a master's in, was it counseling?
Counseling, yes.
Yeah. But you also do like all sorts of other things. What other things did you do? Nutrition and stuff as well? Or
so I'm not a nutritionist or dietitian, but part of my master's degree in homeopathy, you do study nutrition, and then I did health coaching separately.
Amazing.
Herbalism and reflexology and aromatherapy. I love anything to do with the body and health.
And once again, I just want to say that Ruth has written the textbook on reflexology as well. So it's not just reflexology. She's actually written the textbook on it. Have you written a textbook on aromatherapy as well?
No.
Oh, that's not good enough, Ruth. No. Not good enough.
I don't remember anything now. That's the problem. No.
So, which is why I wanted to get you on the podcast to actually give us some practical tips. If there's anything that we can do today to help in some way reduce women's anxiety and this transition that they're going through. And at the end of the day, help hopefully reduce suicide rates, because nobody should struggle to this extent that they feel that is the only resort for them. So can you give us like practical tips? and things that we can do?
Yes, so I have got a lot of stuff I can give, but before I do, I just want to say, and I know I'm a homeopath and I believe in natural therapies, like it's my life, but I want to say to menopausal women who are really, really struggling with their mental health, sometimes you do need sort of medical help.
Mm.
Don't be afraid, and don't, even if you love natural health, if your mental health is really, really, really suffering, go to your GP and get some help, or go to your homeopath, but don't do it alone. And don't be afraid of, even I've spoken to women who say that going on HRT, they tried to do menopause naturally, they ended up on HRT, it saved their lives. So don't be afraid, just don't struggle. And that's the main thing.
That's a really good point. I have a good friend who is the epitome of health and natural living. Unbelievable what this woman knows about. There's nothing natural that she can't do. And I was really surprised when I saw her recently when she said that she went on like 7 months or something like that of HRT. I'd never in my wildest dreams would have expected it. And she was just saying, her mental health was just so bad. She's done all the natural things and she went on it. And I was like, wow, good on you that you're open-minded enough to seek that medical advice. I would just, with any of that thing, if you're going on the pharmaceutical route, just make sure that you're using the natural stuff alongside, because I also have lots of clients that go on it intending to do it short term, but then ending up on a long term and then having such severe side effects of that they can't come off it, or that starts, creating iatrogenic disease. So if you are going to go on the pharma meds, don't leave the natural things. Use it alongside to support your liver. And, and even if you're using homeopathic remedies made from the drug itself alongside. So if you're going on HRT, then use the homeopathic remedy made from HRT alongside to help counter the side effects. Like that's how I work in my clinic. When I have clients that have to be on medication, like antidepressants or whatever, I give them the remedy made from the drug itself alongside. And I just feel that kind of cushions some of the pharmaceuticals. And I have definitely found that it makes it much easier for them to wean off the medication, which if you're working with a really good doctor, their goal should always be to not have you on medication long term, because then they're not interested in healing you. So I just want to say that alongside. Absolutely. Go and get that, but use the natural stuff alongside so you don't then go down the hole and think, oh, I've got this drug, it's going to fix me, that's all I need. Still do the natural things alongside as well to support your body.
Yes. And also, and even with homeopathy and herbs, you've got to make lifestyle changes as well.
Yes. Which I know you're going to talk with us about as well.
And that's what I'm going to talk about, because that's what, if any woman is listening now, they can start doing this today. They can start with the lifestyle changes today.
Love it.
Because that is what is going to get you through menopause. So the first thing, I want to look at this in two separate things. The first is perimenopause, when your hormones are going up and down, up and down. A lot of women are having like estrogen dominance, or they're having heavy periods, irregular periods. Their breasts are, sort of swelling every month. They're getting fluid retention, all those kind of symptoms. So that's perimenopause, and I'll talk about that. And then the lifestyle changes for that are a little bit different to the actual ones when you've got very little estrogen. So during perimenopause, your estrogen levels tend to go up and down a little bit. So it's almost like you're on a bit of a roller coaster for a few years. And the best thing you can do in terms of lifestyle is start to balance your blood sugars. So eat to balance your blood sugars. I sound like a stuck record with my clients. I think I drive people mad with this, because to me, I think we've spoken about this before. I had chronic fatigue for many, many years. The most important thing for me for getting through that, and which I always say to my clients, is balancing your blood sugars. I work a lot with people with autoimmune disorders. Again, I say, look at your blood sugars. Blood sugars play a role in so many different health conditions, and especially in perimenopause and menopause. So basically, I don't want to go too much into blood sugars, but basically when you're eating a lot of, say, carbohydrates or sugars, but also just like bread, pasta, potatoes, just your carbs, your blood sugar goes up and then it comes down. And when it comes down, it's just completely normal. You get irritable, you can't focus, you can't think properly, can't concentrate, you can get moody. That's just signs of low blood sugar. And if this carries on up, down, up, down, up, down, your body has to release hormones. Your body sees it as a stress. When your blood sugars are really low, it's a stress on your body. So your body releases hormones to cope with stress, adrenal hormones that help you cope with stress. And if you constantly have this up, down, up, down, up, down, you end up with a lot of inflammation. So inflammation in the joints, inflammation in the brain, like foggy head, brain fog. So you've got joint pain, brain fog. You tend to accumulate fat around the belly. So it's inflammatory fat. So all of this inflammation, this brain fog, this poor concentration, this moodiness, this weight gain that was so common in perimenopause actually goes back to, a lot of it is to your blood sugars. So the easiest way, and everyone can start this today, is every time you eat, make sure you have a healthy protein or fat with whatever you're eating. So if you have cereal for breakfast, I'm not saying this is a healthy diet. I'm just saying if this is what you do, if you have cereal or toast for breakfast, then add some nuts or seeds to your cereal because they're really good fat. If you have toast, have an egg, or if you like meat, have some meat or fish with it. If you have a sandwich at lunch, make sure you've got chicken or fish or eggs or avocado pear, something like that with it. If you're like me and you love chocolate, make sure you have your chocolate after a meal, not in the middle of the day with nothing else around it. If you like alcohol, I like wine. If you like wine, make sure you have it with food, not all by itself. So it's really, really simple, but those little changes will have a very big impact on your health.
I freaking love that sort of advice, because if you get somebody who's already not in a great place to make all these overwhelming changes, they're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
But you're not saying don't eat your cereal in the morning.
No.
We all know it's not great, but you're saying
Yeah.
have some nuts and seeds with it. And then you can just kind of slowly build that person back up to the place where they can, make really good decisions for their body. And you're not saying don't have the wine, just have it with food. And then eventually you'll get to a place where, when your body is strong enough, it's not, going to crave that when we start listening to our body again. But I know that for myself, especially, we've just been 3 months in the caravan and we just ate and drank all the wrong things.
Yeah.
And I'm now having to slowly get myself back into where I need to be, but it takes time and you can't just do it all overnight. So I really love the practicality of the advice that you're giving. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And it really, really does make a difference. And I always say to my clients, just do it for 2 weeks and you'll find that you don't crave sugars so much. You don't crave carbs so much. You don't have that mid-afternoon dip in your energy when all you want is Coca-Cola and a packet of chips or something. Because those cravings are basically your low blood sugar and needing some energy. And that's why we go for sweet things. So if you just really focus on balancing your blood sugars, it'll have a big impact on your health. So that's the first thing when someone's perimenopausal. And I forgot to say, because I know I talk a lot and I give lots of information, I have done a little guide, a little self-help guide. It's going to be on my website. If you subscribe to my blog, you get access to a subscribers only page. And I've got lots of other resources there as well. And I'll put this on with everything in.
And you've got a nice, easy website, ruthhull.com. So
thank you. Yes.
HULL.com. So anyone, even if you're driving, you can remember ruthhull.com and go and subscribe to the blog, and then you can get access to that, which is great. It's great.
Yes. And I've actually got funny little recipes on there. Over the years, I've just been adding stuff to it. So the second really important thing in perimenopause, and also, so these are habits you start in perimenopause, you're going to maintain them in menopause. But in perimenopause is to nourish your adrenal glands. So as Eugenie mentioned earlier, when your ovaries or your ovarian follicles eventually stop producing estrogen and you reach menopause, your adrenal glands and your fat cells take over the job and they produce small amounts of estrogen. So this
Did
is
not know the part about the fat cells.
Yes, and this is one reason why it's completely normal to put weight on in menopause. It's normal, and your body changes, and you just accept this beautiful new voluptuous body. It's changing, it's life. If you put a lot of weight around your belly, that's different. If it's only around your belly, because that is inflammatory fat when it's just around the belly. But if you put weight on just a little bit, it's normal because those fat cells will help produce small amounts of estrogen.
That is very, very interesting because I have heard that said many years ago. Like I swear I was in my 20s somewhere and somebody said that women who are very skinny have a harder time going through menopause. And I had no idea about why that was or the reason behind it. This is literally, I can't believe it's the first I've heard about the fat cells playing a role in that as well.
Yes, they do.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
so if you read, like if you want to Google it, it's your adipocytes are fat cells. That's what they are. And your adrenal glands. And this is where I think life is very cruel to women because our menopausal, perimenopausal years are the time of our life. If we have children, they tend to be teenagers or writing school leaving exams. They're not the easiest. So there's often stress from our children. If you have a partner or, if you're married or if you've got a long-term partner, after many years of being with that partner, there can be relationship issues come up. Finances can be very stressful for people, especially if you've got kids starting university. And then work, often this is the time of our life when we're at the peak of our career, so we're busy. So we've got all these things happening. And they all take their toll. They all wear down our adrenal glands. If you have had chronic fatigue or burnout in your younger years, menopause gets really difficult as well. So in terms of what you can do for yourself is you've got to start nourishing those adrenal glands. First thing to look after your adrenal glands is stop having blood sugar ups and downs because that really is a stress on the adrenal glands. You can start eating foods rich in your vitamin Bs and your vitamin C. Things like eggs, citrus fruit, stuff like that. Nutritional yeast is really nice as well. And then there's some lovely herbs. So you can either get herbal teas. I love going to the supermarket. I actually buy lots of herbal teas from the supermarket. And there's some lovely blends for women's balance, hormone balance. And if you look at the herbs in there, they're really, really good often really good for your adrenal glands. So the herbs to look out for would be licorice root. It tastes delicious. Withania, also called ashwagandha. I think that's really common, really popular. Burdock root. Melissa bee balm. And a lot of these you can grow in your garden as well. So those kind of herbs, just drinking herbal teas can help nourish the adrenals. For women who have had burnout or who are really struggling with their stress, then I recommend that they see somebody to help them with their adrenals because that makes a big difference to coping with menopause and perimenopause.
And we're heading into winter here now, so it's autumn here in the Southern Hemisphere. So teas are lovely for us, but for our friends in the Northern Hemisphere who are listening, you can always make an iced tea, like make the herbal teas and then let it cool down or just pop some ice in it and, just drink that in like a, water bottle or whatever if you want something cool.
Yeah. And then the other big issue in perimenopause is anemia. I think a lot of women are exhausted and it's because they're anemic, especially if they are having very heavy periods or menstrual flooding. So go to your GP, get a blood test if you're anemic, either if you like iron supplements or if you don't want to take iron supplements, molasses, good old-fashioned blackstrap molasses. It gets your iron up quickly.
Have you ever taken it? Like I know there's recipes online for molasses brownies, but do you just take it by the teaspoon? Yeah, it's like got all these healthy ingredients and then loads of molasses in it. So you can just like make like a brownie sheet with this molasses and then you can just like have a few cubes throughout the day. I haven't made it myself, but
Yeah. I have to confess it's not my favorite flavor. Some people love it. The way I have it, my mum actually used to do this for us when we were kids, is a tablespoon of blackstrap molasses. You can buy it in most supermarkets. A tablespoon in a mug of hot water and then sip it like tea. So that's the way I take it. And you get used to the flavor. So the first time you have it, it's like, oh, you can even start with a teaspoon if you don't like the flavor, but you do after a few days get used to the flavor. My grandfather used to put it on porridge in the morning. But it's really nutrient dense and it's a very easy way of getting your iron levels up.
Amazing.
And nettle tea,
Yep.
you can buy that in most supermarkets as well.
Nettle is nice, cool. I remember when I was pregnant and I had to get my iron up, I did it with taking 20 to 30 spirulina tablets a day because we had Jason Sean Bennett, who is this life extension expert. He used to work for Livestream at the time. And he would come into the health shop that I worked in like 15 years ago and say that he's always managed to get iron up with 20 to 30 tablets a day. And because it's a whole food supplement, you can't overdose on it. It's a natural food. And spirulina is one of those things that actually needs only 0.1% of a binder to get it to bind into a tablet. Because sometimes if you take tablets, they need a lot of binders in it to get it to bind, but spirulina naturally binds very easily. And I just found having like a bottle of spirulina in my handbag, because sometimes I'd forget to take it. You know, the powder is great, but then you forget to make a smoothie. Then I have the bottle, you know, like standing on my desk or wherever else, and I can just like shove a handful and I'll do like, you know, kind of build it up. I start with like 4 tablets in the morning, 4 at lunchtime for a couple of weeks, and then go up to 6 and 6, 8 and 8 and 10 and 10. And I don't tend to take in the afternoon because of all the B vitamins that can keep you awake. So I usually say morning and lunch, but you can get your iron up naturally that way. But of course, if there's, you know, like if you're doing that and it's not working, then I guess like parasites and things like that are always worse.
Yes.
Why are you low in iron? What is it apart from the bleed, like the bleeding? There could be other things as well.
Yes, and that's something really important that we need to emphasize is everything I'm sharing now, they're just ideas.
Yeah.
If they don't work, you know, if you're still not feeling good by doing these things at home, then you do need to see a professional. You need to see someone who can help you because there might be something else underlying. You know, it might not just be your hormones or stress. It might be something else. So if these kind of things don't work, there's a reason they're not working and you need to seek professional help.
Absolutely. Thanks for pointing that out as well. That's great.
Yeah. So that's sort of perimenopause.
Yeah.
But
And exercise wise, like I mean, I felt super vindicated recently because this whole ice bath thing that's been going on for ages, I instinctively, I'm like, this does not feel right. And I feel so vindicated because there's more and more stuff coming out now about how it's not great for women to do ice baths because we have a higher fat percentage than men. So I'm so happy about that. So like, I mean, exercise wise, should you change how you exercise or what do you recommend?
to be honest, I am the worst person to talk about exercise.
So it's not just me, I am as well.
And I don't know much about ice baths. I just cannot bear the thought of getting into an ice bath. My husband loves them, but I have spoken to a lot of women who were doing ice baths during menopause and it made them worse. And one woman actually told me it was whilst she was trying to fall pregnant, she was doing ice baths. She couldn't fall pregnant. She stopped doing the ice baths and she fell pregnant. So I don't know. This is just talking to people. This is just, in terms of exercise, daily exercise is vital. Whether you like it or not, I'm not a sporty person, but every single day I just go for a walk. I look at all the gardens. I love gardening, so I look at all my neighbors' gardens. Daily exercise, you need to exercise. It's really important. That exercise is the only thing that decreases insulin resistance in cells. It's the only thing that has been found to actually, through clinical trials, to reduce insulin resistance. So if you have been having blood sugar ups and downs for many years, if you've got that weight gain, you might go for blood tests and your doctors will tell you you're insulin resistant, which is sort of the step before diabetes. It's very serious and you need to do something about it because you don't want to end up diabetic. And daily exercise, 20 minutes of exercise a day. It doesn't have to be big, but it has to be every day. It has to be regular. With menopause and perimenopause, the other thing that's very important is your weight-bearing exercise. And I've actually, if you look at my blog, I've written quite a lot about, say, osteoporosis and bone health and stuff like that. So estrogen protects your heart and it protects your bones. once you've gone through, and it protects your brain, it actually regulates a lot of your neurotransmitters. Once you go through menopause, and this is actually a good way to just talk about what to do when you're actually close to menopause now. So you're getting the hot flushes and insomnia and mood swings and forgetfulness and stuff. Once you go through menopause, you're at women are at a high risk of osteoporosis because their bones start weakening. And this is why they say HRT is very protective for women. If you don't want to go into HRT, you need to exercise. You need to do weight-bearing exercise, because the way your bones build themselves is they need resistance. They need the resistance for those little
osteoclasts and
so for the osteoblasts to actually create bone cells, you need resistance. So weight-bearing exercise, and it has to be done. And I think it should be done every day, just a little bit every single day. Well, do you have any questions before I go ahead?
No, I'm intrigued to just hear how that would differ with menopause versus perimenopause. So that's the part that I'm looking forward to hearing.
Okay.
All right. Selfishly.
Part two.
Part two
is menopause.
Yeah.
So now you're getting close to menopause. Don't go by age, because some women actually go through menopause at the age of, I've known women at the age of 38, So just look at your body. When your periods are quite irregular, you're not having them very often at all, you're getting those horrendous night sweats, or you're getting hot flushes during the day. Every part of you just dries up and shrivels up. You put on weight. Your brain doesn't work. It's like, that's menopause. You can see
if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
Exactly. So you keep with everything I've spoken about already. Keep those blood sugars balanced. Keep really, really nourishing your adrenal glands. But now you have to start replacing the estrogen that your ovaries aren't making anymore. And the best way is eating phytoestrogens. So eating foods, plants, phytoestrogens are plants that the molecules attached to your estrogen receptors are the same as your normal natural estrogen, and they have similar effects. So diets rich in phytoestrogens will really help your brain, your cognition, your memory, your focus, your mental health, your moods, as well as just help with the physical symptoms of menopause. So the foods, and again, this is all, I'll put it in my guide. The foods rich in phytoestrogens are things like soy-based things. I don't think soy milk is good. I wouldn't recommend soy milk to anyone. But tofu, tempeh, edamame beans, those are all soy products. And there's a lot of research that's been done on phytoestrogens now. Your flax seeds or linseeds, and sesame seeds as well, chickpeas, I think alfalfa sprouts. There's quite a few vegetables or plants. You need to eat those on a daily basis. If you want to get through menopause naturally, you have to change your diet and you have to eat phytoestrogens, even if you don't like them.
It's like that teaspoon of cod liver oil you're getting forced as a child. Just do it.
Yes. Yeah. And then there's some herbal teas. Red clover is high in phytoestrogens, and sage. So you can, if you live in Perth, you can grow sage in your garden, and sage really helps with the hot flushes as well. Yeah.
As the herbalists would say, it's anti-hyperhidrotic, which means basically it helps you sweat less.
Yes. Yeah, so that's the main thing with once you go through menopause is eating phytoestrogens and doing that weight-bearing exercise. Also keeping just the usual things, keeping your gut moving, looking after your liver, especially in perimenopause. Actually, we were speaking about this a little bit yesterday. Yeah. Do you want to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say I 100% found, since I've been doing a Lego scan the last year and a half, when I see kind of like what's called the zinc blockade on the Lego scan, then I know the liver is struggling. And so then I'll do things to get the liver sorted. Amongst them is the herbal tincture called greater celandine, which as homeopaths we know as chelidonium. So I'll give that along with a copper chelate to get the copper out of the liver, because John Gamble explains that the copper accumulates in the liver, which binds to estrogens in the liver, and it creates a sludge, which slows everything down. So with a combination of using this copper chelate homeopathic remedy, along with zinc to force the copper out of the cells, and this greatest celandine to clear the sludge out of the liver, within a week or two, hot flushes can be almost non-existent for these women. And yeah, it's really interesting, this healing the liver. Castor oil packs is such a good one as well, but it's hard to remember sometimes. But removing dairy or anything that's going to be hard on the liver, cutting out the alcohol. But really, like, focusing on healing the liver, I have found just clinically, and this is the thing, right? Like, we learn so much from our clients, because I do this stuff and then suddenly a client will come back and go, oh, my hot flushes are so much better. And I didn't do it necessarily for the hot flushes. I did it just because that's what showed up on the Allego scan, but they'll come back and tell you, oh, this symptom's improved. And you're like, oh, I actually didn't realize it. But it makes sense, because the hot flushes is your body trying to detox, is pushing things out. That the liver's not working, it's going to do it through the flushing. So it's like, oh, yeah, of course that makes sense. But it's just great when clients come back and they give you feedback. It's like, oh, yeah, of course. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, supporting the liver for sure.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
And that's, if you eat lots of phytoestrogens, the vegetables, that really helps liver as well. Yes.
And I cannot rave enough about folliculinum, which is homeopathic estrogen. Just folliculinum is amazing for vaginal dryness, which I don't know if we talk enough about that. It's just a beautiful remedy.
Yes.
And you can almost blanket prescribe that to any woman with going through perimenopause.
Yes.
I'll sometimes give them progesterone actually as a remedy, rather than, like, sometimes clinically the picture can look a little bit different, especially if there's lots of joint pains and stuff. Progesterone, I found, can often be the homeopathic progesterone can sometimes be good, or I'll alternate folliculinum and progesterone. And
and euphorianum as well.
Which one? Oh, ophorinum, which is made from the sarcode of the ovaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's
good idea.
That's the thing, is there's nothing better than homeopathy and menopause. Yeah. There's nothing. But you need to look at the picture. Don't just do folliculinum because it's menopause. You've got it. Maybe it's progesterone, maybe it's euphorianum, maybe it's a completely different remedy. So really looking at the picture. Yeah. And with menopause as well, what I've noticed in women, and which I actually noticed with myself with the whole dengue thing, is you feel, you do a lot, you use your remedies, whatever, and you get over your hot flushes and you're feeling great, and then something can knock you, and then all those symptoms will come back. Like, I used some remedies last year, I got through all my hot flushes, I felt great. I thought, oh, menopause is so easy. What does everyone talk about? And then I had dengue fever, and then I sort of put my back out, I think because I lost all my muscles with the dengue fever. I lost a lot of weight. And then my hot flushes came back. Like, I was having 8 a night. 8 horrendous hot flushes every night. Like, it was just like somebody, and then you have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to work, and it's just not fun. So then I had to go back on remedies again. So if you think you're through the menopause and then something significant happens in your life, I've had a client who I worked with her for her menopause, and about 4 or 5 years later she came back. She had lost her sister, and all the menopausal symptoms came back. So then we had to work with that.
So apart from not having your period anymore, are there any other positives of going through menopause?
Well, I think not having your period anymore is a great positive if you're a woman. I also think that for a lot of women, they just, if they can give themselves that time during perimenopause and menopause to actually stop pushing themselves and to listen to their bodies. I always think our bodies give us symptoms almost like a gift or a present to tell us to listen to something deeper. So if you're going through menopause and you're really struggling, then you probably need to slow your life down. You probably need to take better care of yourself, reach out to friends, become part of a community, nurture yourself more. And if you do that, then menopause will be like a little gift, because it will change the course of your life. If you actually, so many women in their 40s are rushing pushing themselves, driving themselves. As like my mom used to say, you live on the skin of your teeth. You're just barely hanging on. Menopause comes along, can just whack you. You might have to leave your job. But if you actually just look after yourself and make some changes, if you're struggling with your mental health, see a therapist, go for counseling, or join a group. I do group counseling for menopausal women. I think it's the best thing because women can actually just share. You realize you're not alone. You're not the only person struggling.
Wait, can we pause there for a second? Did you just say you do group counseling?
Yes.
Can you say a bit more about that? Because that sounds amazing.
So when I did my master's in counseling, one of the things you have to do is you have to do group counseling every single week for a year with the same group.
Wow.
When I first signed up for it, I was like, I could think of nothing worse. I don't want to talk about my deep feelings. I just don't want to do that. I found it really, really hard at first, but it had, once you get to know your group, you suddenly have all the support. You belong to something. You have all the support. You're with people who go through the same things as you. It's really, really powerful and can have such deep changes. So I do group counseling for menopause and I want to do it for chronic fatigue as well.
Oh, my goodness.
If anyone listening who's interested, just send me an email just go to my contacts page, ruthhull.com, go to my contacts and just let me know if you're interested.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Just having that shared experience is so healing in itself. It's almost like, it's like a remedy, right? Like just being in that space where you're being held and there's others that have walked a similar path. That's powerfully healing. And do you do it in person or is it via Zoom or can anybody in the world? Oh, amazing.
So via Zoom or in person. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And do you find it trickier via Zoom or is it easier or just the same?
The first few sessions can be a little bit more difficult. The first session or the first two, for me as a facilitator, just making sure everyone's heard and gets their
You've got more body language to go with in person to see whether they feel heard or feel comfortable, right? You can't see the hands fiddling under the uncomfortableness or the twiddling and going, maybe you're feeling uncomfortable via Zoom.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And you have to sort of lay down some rules of don't interrupt and all of that. But then once people get used to it, it becomes just the same, just as therapeutic. Yeah.
I do find that actually quite freaky how connected you can feel with another human being just via Zoom on the other side of the planet. Because part of our 3-month caravanning trip is I got to meet some of my clients on the other side of Australia that I had been seeing for years but had never met in person. And it felt like no different, like seeing them in person. It was hard to think that I never met them in person before. It just feels like, it's hard. I mean, everyone's experienced that these days because we all are on Zoom, but it just felt so natural seeing them. It's incredible. Yeah, it was really, really lovely. I did not know that you do that, Ruth. That's really, really powerful and really, really beautiful that you're offering that. I'm so glad because you have such a ridiculous amount of skills that for anybody to be part of something like this, they're going to get held in such an amazing way and get so much incredible, truly holistic knowledge from all sorts of angles because you really have the whole package, which is incredible.
No, thank you. Thanks.
Pleasure. Is there anything else that we've missed? We've got your website, ruthhull.com.
Yeah.
And people can buy your textbooks and stuff from there as well if they want to?
No, they can just buy them on Amazon.
On Amazon, okay.
Buy them on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or, the general.
I was about to check if I've got your textbook here, but I've just realized it's at home. Yeah, I've got two libraries, but I've got your textbooks at home. I was going to show them off for you. You probably have them there. Actually, you've changed your location because you used to sit somewhere else with your books behind you.
Yes, I'm at home today.
Oh, okay.
I'm home today, so this is just my little home office.
Oh, amazing. I love all that beautiful artwork behind you. It's gorgeous.
All my daughters.
Are you serious?
Well, some of them are, yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. Amazing. Is there anything else we've missed? Anything else that we need to have a chat about?
Not. I don't think so. For listeners, I've written quite a few blogs on menopause on osteoporosis, you can just go to ruthhull.com, go to my blog. And if you subscribe to my blog, then my resources page will have everything I've spoken about, and probably a lot more, because I'm sure I've forgotten quite a few things. Yeah, and if you're interested in working with me, just send me a message, or if you definitely want to work with me, you can just book online. I do everything online.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Makes it so easy these days. It's great for people not having to travel as well. It's more environmentally friendly, saving all that petrol and all that stress.
Yes.
Well, it was so amazing having you on. Sharon's coming around tomorrow morning for breakfast here because we've got that new cafe next to us. So if you're around, come have brekkie with us.
I actually
Otherwise, I might go to Mojo or somewhere and go have some brekkie as well.
On a Friday morning, I got a lovely meditation group. It's all women. It's my soul therapy for the week. And I've only started doing that like the last year.
Wow.
And it's a menopausal thing. I've started doing it because I realize I need to slow down and look after myself. So my Fridays are special now too.
Oh, well, maybe we'll come join you then, because that sounds amazing. Although it's going to be really hard if the three of us are together and we're not allowed to talk. So maybe I'll have to be a breakfast.
We always have tea afterwards. Afterwards.
Maybe we'll just come for the tea so we can talk. Amazing. Oh, it was lovely to chat with you, Ruth, and we definitely will catch up in person very, very soon. Yes. And we've got another, like Nicole's overseas at the moment, but I was saying the second she's back, all of us homies here in Perth need to just have a proper catch up. Yeah, Perth is so big. Like it feels like it's so scattered. Hey, but we just need to get together more, because like you were saying, like in the Solomons, when you're with a group of homeopaths, it's just magic that happens, and the talking never stops. It's quite shocking.
And people who understand you.
It's like speaking a different language. Hey, and my poor family, they're so sick of me sometimes with or talking about homeopathy so much. There's only so much.
Yes.
You can,
that's it.
Whereas with any homeopath I've ever been with, there's no amount of there's no stop when it comes to talking about it. Oh, amazing. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge. I've learned a lot today, and I know that our listeners will have as well. So thank you so much.
That's a pleasure. Nice to chat. Cheers.
Bye.